Major franchises being moved to the small screen and being turned into longer form narratives is fantastic for some, but for others, they're not so thrilled with this idea. Of course, this depends heavily on the property and those involved. Some stories do not need to be more than a feature film or two at most. But other stories would greatly benefit from stretching it out into multiple seasons to expand upon the lore and story. Well, like it or not, Bryan Fuller is set to bring us a Friday the 13th prequel series with A24 that will be streaming exclusively to Peacock. This show currently has a target release date of 2025. Fingers crossed for the absolutely perfect date of June 13th, which is a Friday. That would be an incredible missed opportunity if they missed that date. Now, we all have our own tastes and desires for our own perfect Friday the 13th film, and I respect that. But I am here to discuss what I would do if I was put in charge of this show. Let's discuss. So it's been 15 years since we got a true Friday the 13th production, setting of course aside the fan films that we've got in recent years. I want an honest-to-goodness, true Friday the 13th production. So my major point of contention with this franchise is that over 12 films, we have never once gotten to the major driving force of this story, the relationship between Pamela and Jason. Think about it. We have yet to see an actual relationship between these two characters. That's crazy to me. Not once do we see Pamela and Jason actually together. Now, I know there's a lot of slasher fans who don't really care about story and just want a lean, mean slasher with a bunch of great kills and naked hot chicks. Trust me, I hear you. I love all that stuff, and I do think that those things should be here. But we are talking about a long-form television series. And in order to do that, we need to have a story. You can look no further than the Bates Motel for this example. That went 5 seasons and was excellent. Now, I don't want it to be very similar to that show. I'm just illustrating a point. Our connection to Jason and his mother is absolutely paramount in this show. It just makes the most sense. So season 1 would introduce us to Pamela Voorhees, a single mother to a son with disabilities. She takes a job at a summer camp cooking for kids. She gets the camp to agree to let Jason come and be a camper. We focus heavily on their bond and how much they mean to each other. We can show Pamela as a very sweet woman, but when you cross her kid, she becomes a completely different person. Jason will be bullied, and Pamela will be there to defend him. One night while Pamela is working late, Jason drowns because he's not properly being watched by the counselors. They go looking for his body, but cannot find it. Pamela, of course, freaks out and blames everyone at the camp for her son's death. This leads her onto a path of revenge, and the killings begin. We see that Jason actually survives this and ends up on the other side of the lake. He's scared, and he stumbles out into the woods, getting lost, trying to find his way back to the camp. So meanwhile, back at the camp, Pamela has killed all but one counselor. Right in the midst of their fighting, Jason stumbles out from the woods, and Pamela realizes what she has done. Her son did not die, and she has now killed everyone. While she is distracted, the counselor, who does not see Jason, picks up the machete that Pamela dropped in the confusion and beheads her right in front of Jason. After the counselor runs off, Jason makes his way over to his mother's decapitated body. He then picks up his mother's head and looks up at the counselor as she's running off. She does not see Jason, but he sees her, and we can tell he is furious. He then takes his mother's head and the machete, and he goes back into the woods. We cut to black, and we set up the revenge of Jason for season 2. Then in season 2, we can do a time jump and Jason comes back to avenge his mother, finding the counselor, something like that. But for now, I really think that the most important thing that we can do here is develop the relationship between mother and son. We need to know why Pamela is murdering everyone. We need to care, and we really need to care when Jason wants to get revenge for his mother's death. They both love each other. That is the driving force behind the entirety of this franchise, and we've just never seen it properly displayed. It is something that I've been yearning for. The Friday the 13th remake from 2009 tried to touch on this in the opening a little bit. But for me, I need to see an entire story with these two characters at the center of it. Some variation of what I just laid out absolutely needs to happen. If this is going to be a prequel show, we need to see the relationship between Pamela and Jason. It is absolutely crucial to this story. Now, you could throw in fun things, of course. If I was in a writer's room, I would have the bag that he puts his mom's head in be the burlap sack that he wears over his head so that it has some kind of sentimental attachment to it and he feels closer to his mom. You could also make the hockey mask something that his mother held onto that was his father's, and he goes back to the camp for it later. And this, of course, is how he gets his iconic hockey mask. There is so much that you can do with this series, and I really do have a lot of faith in the showrunner after the incredible Hannibal television series. If you haven't seen that show, do yourself a favor. And of course, we didn't even get into the counselors or whoever works there at the camp, but I don't think that is as important as the relationship between Jason and his mother. Yes, we want to have great characters outside of them, obviously, but we've seen plenty of that before. And what I wanted to focus on here is the thing that we have yet to see, the most important thing. So now I would like to hear what you guys think and what you would do if you were put in charge of this television series. Let me know in the comments below, and definitely subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And if you can think of another franchise you would like to see what I would do with if I was given the reins to, let me know as well, and I will see you in the comments.